Welcome to SAT TV's news. I'm Shanna Esbury, your presenter. In our top stories, hucksters urged to assist in the fight against black Sigatoka disease. Trinidad police find severed head of murdered man. Syria conflict, France to float tough UN resolution. And in sports, DABA to host 2013 basketball season closing ceremony. Details of these will follow.
Yeah. I know that things are tough, but we will make it out. Dominica, we all gonna make it one day. The pressures of the system make us lose around. Oh yeah, we all gonna make it one day. Yeah, listen now, there's something that I wanna say to you. You get me so angry. Yeah man, this is Emma Moses, and you're watching SAT News, the People's Choice, yeah? Make it bless, make it bless, make it bless. Yo.
Welcome back. Dominica will host a Creole Symposium and Exposition from October 22nd to the 24th to mark the 30th anniversary of International Creole Day. This is being conducted by the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry for Culture, Youth and Sports. Honorable Ian Douglas, Minister of Tourism, said his ministry became involved and took the lead in this initiative as one of their primary focus is and has always been bringing more people into the destination. This is why we continue the staging of the World Creole Music Festival. It is in an effort to promote the island generally, he stated. He also noted that the main reason for hosting the World Creole Music Festival is to showcase our Creole culture and heritage.
It was not just, when it was originally conceived, not just about the 3 nights of pulsating rhythms, but much more than that. Everything that makes us unique as a Creole people. And so we felt that we needed to go back to the original purpose for the festival. One of the things we initiated last year after World Creole Music Festival and after Carnival was 2 short, I don't want to use the word symposium again, but we brought all of the players together. In the case of World Creole Music Festival, all of the players together in a one-day kind of seminar and looked at all of the factors affecting or associated with the festival.
Mr. Douglas believes that our Creole period on a whole needs to be highlighted a lot more. The Creole Symposium commences from 9 a.m. at the Arawak House of Culture, and the Creole Exposition will take place from 12 p.m. at the Botanic Gardens, forming part of the annual Creole in the Park activities. The minister informed us that this initiative will assemble cultural business persons and others from the Creole-speaking community of nations, including St. Lucia and Haiti, to strengthen our own Creole activities here in Dominica.
We have St. Lucia, Haiti, La Désirade, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Marie-Galante, Seychelles. There's so many other countries in the world, Louisiana, around the world in Africa, that have the same Creole culture as us. And so we wanted to bring them together in one place, making Dominica literally the center of the Creole world, really, to examine the origins of our Creole culture and heritage, where it came from, where we are today. In some nations or in some islands like St. Lucia, you have Creole being spoken in school. In Dominica, you have Creole being spoken on the radio, in the media. And there are various advancements that we have made in our Creole culture and heritage.
Mr. Gregory Rabez, Symposium Coordinator, says Dominica has a very significant role to play in the establishment of International Creole Day.
In 1981, the government of Dominica, then just after Hurricane David, 2 years after, established the Creole Committee. The Division of Culture established the Creole Committee, and among the strategies to promote Creole language and culture was to establish Journée Creole. 2 years later, in 1983, at a meeting of Banzil Creole, that is an international grouping of Creole-speaking countries, including Dominica, at a meeting in Louisiana, inspired by Dominica's decision to put a day aside for Creole, Journée Creole, they took the decision that the October 28th will be celebrated and known as International Creole Day. So since then, countries all over the world that share the same Creole heritage, as the minister said, like Seychelles, Mauritius, Reunion, these are countries in the Indian Ocean, Haiti, Louisiana, United States, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Dominica, St. Lucia, French Guyana. These are the major countries sharing the Creole heritage.
The events will feature presentations from regional representatives, and a final declaration will be issued to capture all the activities emerging from day 1, 2, and 3 of the event. The symposium and exposition is free of charge. In more news, the Office of Disaster Management is conducting a week-long training to sensitize, empower, and equip communities in response to emergencies and disasters. The Community Emergency Response Training is the second of its kind and collaborates with the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and Enhancing Resilience to Reduce Vulnerability Project, UKAID, the Canadian International Development Agency, Australian Aid, along with funded support from the Government of Italy.
The Community Emergency Response Training is exposing 30 participants this week, running from September 9th to the 13th. And they will graduate on Friday afternoon. Hopefully they will be equipped as well. So each participant gets a backpack, his PPE, and they are expected to provide that early response, but we make it clear that they function mainly in a supportive role.
The participants are not being trained to replace the emergency services, but to assist in the event that a disaster happens.
When the emergency services get on the scene, there must be a clear handing over, and if their services are continuing to be required, then they provide a support service. But if most of our communities are so equipped with persons who are better trained, of course we think we are well on our way to ensure that we build our resilience and our effectiveness at community disaster management.
Mr. Steve Joseph, Acting Program Officer of Disaster Management, said that the training consists of 2 segments, which are the theory and practical aspects, and will certainly enhance, promote, and facilitate the kind of recovery needed after an incident.
The heightened awareness that we're seeing and the fact that people are leaving the training certified as well as with equipment. Persons are saying the first assistance that they've been able to give is to their own families. The knowledge that they are able to receive is, yes, to the benefit of the community, but to their families. Persons have little experiences in their entire neighborhood, and they're able to respond from a point of knowledge, not just anyhow. And so we are seeing the benefit of that type of training. And we are encouraging people to not just receive the training and sit in your community with the knowledge, to really get more involved in their community disaster management committees, and because they are seen now as a resource person.
Part of the aim of the CERT is for participants to gain leadership roles, organize basic trainings for other persons within the community, and building the local capacity to ensure the continuance of this program. The training will end on Friday, 14th September. The SIDEMA team will assess and provide support to the Office of Disaster Management during the training. In other news, a survey observing the entrepreneurial intentions of high school students, in addition to their workforce-ready skills, has been completed, according to Executive Director of Junior Achievement Dominica, Mrs. Natasha Yeloy Labad. In an exclusive interview with SAT TV, Mrs. Labad noted 150 students from 7 different schools took the survey. Many were 4th formers transitioning to 5th form level.
Methodology, we utilized what we call a self-assessment, and really it was a series of questions that sought to ascertain feelings and opinions on a number of areas. there were about 5 different sort of workforce ready skills that we sought to ascertain and get feedback on the students from. These included their kind of communication capabilities, their leadership skills, their ability to understand business concepts and communicate and explain terms relating to business. They were also asked questions about entrepreneurship and small business and what were their feelings regarding starting up a small business. This self-assessment, it was gender-based, so we had both male and female students represented, and really we think that we have, I think, 15 high schools in Dominica, so we feel that the sampling, although small, was representative of, our high school population.
According to the survey, the intentions of high school students owning a small business is high at 72%. When the data was analyzed between female and male students, 61 of female participants stated they would like to start a business, compared to 79% of males, highlighting a gap between the two. Mrs. Labad noted this may be so, as most people who would like to start a small business most times have a parent in the sector or they are male.
Although 72% of students stated that they would one day want to start a small business, I think that's a really interesting question. The fact is, 99% of the students that were that completed the survey stated as a priority that they were looking for a job. And so looking at the data, there is either 3 things. One, students do not think that there is anything exclusively, isn't anything uniquely exclusive about finding a job as opposed to being employed. Or 2, students do not understand the concept or the difference between employment, being employed, and or starting a small business. And 3, students understand the concept, but they weight being employed as a number 1 priority, with becoming an entrepreneur or starting a small business as a consideration.
73% of students noted they were aware of the concepts of small business and entrepreneurship and had a basic idea of how to put a business plan together, highlighting the importance of organizations including Junior Achievers Dominica, the Youth Development Division, the Dominica Youth Business Trust, and the National Development Foundation of Dominica.
Something I probably would want to point out is that looking at the attitudes for workforce ready skills, I think that is when the alarms go off for me when I compare the data. And some of the skills that employers say that are key to being, to lending to someone being employable includes communications, effective communications, innovation and creativity, the ability to work in a team, but most importantly, leadership capabilities. And when we look at the survey, when we rated in terms of assessed leadership, when we asked respondents to rate themselves, we saw that male students were extremely confident about their potential and capabilities as effective leaders.
After carefully reviewing that data, it revealed that 79% of males say they would like to be leaders, but only 49% are actually actively involved in the community. According to Mrs. Labad, the male students are not fully taking advantage of the opportunities currently available to them to practice leadership skills. The survey also highlighted the importance of economic and entrepreneurial education for students.
So I think the survey it was very resourceful, and I think it's something that we probably want to continue to do year on for us to be able to show the increases in the culture of entrepreneurship, but more importantly, the intentions of our students, because really what it means is if 79% or 72% of students are stating that they have these intentions, then what we want to be able to do is to nurture and sort of facilitate and accelerate the chances of these persons having opportunities that will impact the economics of Dominica.
Mrs. Labad noted students should be open to opportunities to interact with the private sector and be mentioned on small business operations. In other stories, hucksters on the island are being urged to adhere to measures to manage the spread of the black sigatoka disease that has been dispersal throughout various communities or risk losing out. Executive Secretary of the Dominica Hucksters Association, Cecil Joseph, expressed his concerns by cautioning hucksters against the movement of waste material from bananas and plantains.
It is important that we do not continue that practice, because when we do that, we are spreading the disease. And we've known that there are times that Dominica is the fruit basket of the Caribbean, and a number of the islands, especially the French islands, on a number of occasions have relied on Dominica for produce.
Hucksters need to play their parts in order to contain the disease, or else production will decrease dramatically.
And that is going to affect profitability, that is going to affect the volumes that we are sending. So, as Executive Secretary of the Dominica Hucksters Association, I want to please beg all hucksters, this is serious business. Let us take note and do what has to be done. Box our plantains and bananas on the field so we don't have to be moving about with too much trash.
Black sigatoka, a fungal disease which affects the leaves of banana and plantain crops, was confirmed to have existed here in May of 2012. The first sign of the disease is usually seen underneath the leaf, which then moves through the leaf and eventually surfaces on top of it. The Ministry of Agriculture has issued several warnings against the practice and has continued its education sensitization drive. However, the disease continues to spread. In other stories, a new medical service has been opened to facilitate a more efficient healthcare service in Dominica. Dr. Samuel Christian, the head doctor at the office, says they are trying to fulfill the health request of the public. In an interview with SAT TV News, Dr. Christian stated that urgent care is a facility that is very prevalent in developed countries. It is an intermediate status between the regular doctor's office and the emergency room.
And the whole idea is that there are many conditions which do not require the level of care, as we say, the acuity of care that an emergency room provides. And a lot of people overuse the emergency room and makes it more difficult for the really severe emergency cases. So the whole idea is for patients to get seen faster.
According to Dr. Christian, they are using technology to reduce the waiting time. Patients will be able to text their name, medical condition, and age to the office's cell phone at 613-8345. A date and a time will then be texted back to patient as to when they can come in. Several Dominicans complain about the amount of time spent at the doctor's office for simple health issues, and with urgent care, this will eliminate the waiting process.
We have the software, it's not yet fully functional, whereby they'll be able to go online and register and answer computerized questions as to what their symptoms are. So when they hit submit, it sends a report. For instance, it would say a 50-year-old black male with 1 week history of sore throat, has difficulty swallowing solids, is still able to drink, and has had 2 days of fever. So we get this report before the patient comes in, and therefore that's less time they have to wait filling out this form, and then we're able to treat them faster. We're able to bring more patients in and bring them in at times outside of the regular office hours if somebody is at work, and that's particularly suited for people who are busy and who need to get back to work.
Thus far, patients are appreciating this initiative as well as the different services received. Dr. Christian said by decreasing the wait time, persons are able to perform other daily tasks. The overall aim and objective is to use the available technology to facilitate patient care.
Most Dominicans, at least the younger generation, are very good using the texts. And a lot of people are very good with the computer, and they can go on the computer and answer those questions, fill out those electronic forms, and so get a head start in getting seen. Of course, we have an excellent, a world-renowned clinic system, medical clinic system in the districts, where we use the exercise books with the medical records that the patient takes with them, and that works very well. But for the people who are more computer literate and the people who are able to use technology, we can use that to their advantage. Just like in the old days, if you needed to withdraw money from the bank, you had to stand in line and wait maybe a couple hours sometimes in order to get your money. But now, you can go to the ATM, put in your card.
Following the media launch of Independence on Wednesday, September 4th, Minister of Youth and Sports Justina Charles made the statement that Dominica's independence celebrations are special occasions. Each year, when we come together as one to celebrate our achievements and cultural heritage, let us take a moment to reflect on the past 35 years and look at the strides we have made throughout our development. Ms. Charles said that when we reflect on the past and recognize the progress we have made as an independent nation, we will portray Dominica as a greater nation.
Fellow Dominicans, we have made significant progress in development of our human resource by promoting and facilitating learning through our local learning institutions as well as other parts of the world. Never before have we seen the level of infrastructural development as is evident today. As an independent nation, we have seen more recently the tremendous result of our progressive foreign policy. As we celebrate that freedom from our colonial masters, we must unite our efforts over the next several weeks by being part of the wide range of activities which have been detailed by the Chief Cultural Officer, Mr. Lawrence.
She noted that many of the events carried for this year's independence have now become established traditions, including Heritage Day, Creole Day, Creole Week, World Creole Music Festival, and Creole in the Park, amongst others.
These are signature events that promote our Creole culture. All these form elements of the mission of nation building, but is the creation of our new tradition and the creation of new institutions. As we celebrate 35 as a nation, we also mark an important milestone with respect to Creole. October 28, 2013 marks the 30th anniversary of International Creole Day. In this celebration, we are joined by other countries of the French Creole community in the Caribbean and in the Indian Ocean.
Ms. Charles says this year the cultural competitions will be replaced by festivals. We encourage individuals and groups to register and to participate in these festivals, she added.
I take this opportunity to thank all individuals and groups for their participation in last year's celebrations. The Youth Rally has been a signature event for youth and students. And of recent, there was a sports initiative to host Sugar Creole football tournaments in Dominica. As we advance on the mission of building one Dominica, we have thus created new traditions, new institutions, and we will continue to do so in the years ahead.
The minister stated that as we pursue economic development, we must always ensure that we develop culturally and spiritually as a people. She believes our independence celebrations are vital for sustaining our culture and best spiritual values. And in court, Tebow resident Elworth Henderson was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment after he faced Roseau Magistrate Candia George on Tuesday, September 10th. This followed his guilty plea on the charge of theft following an incident at a department store. According to the facts of the case, on Saturday, September 7th, Henderson went into J. Astafan and Company Limited, where he placed a number of items into a black plastic bag and proceeded to exit the store. A security guard who noticed Henderson's actions prevented him from leaving the store and informed him of his observations before searching him. During the search, a number of grocery items including corn, peas and carrot, shampoo, peanut butter, sardines and biscuits totaling $94.20 was found in the black plastic bag. A report was made to the police and the defendant was brought to the police station by the security guard. When questioned by the investigating officer, Henderson stated he was drunk at the time of the incident. In mitigation, he told the court that he is a construction worker who earned $60 daily but was under the influence of alcohol and would rather pay a fine instead of a custodial sentence. However, after looking at Henderson's criminal record, the magistrate noticed that he had been charged for theft on numerous occasions since 1993. Magistrate George advised Henderson to change his habit and his life when he completes his term in prison. The stolen items were restituted to J. Astor Fans and the Company Limited. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.
Remember this? 2012, your Kadas King. When? This year, second edition. 2013, it will be at Newtown Savannah, October 19th. Be there. I'll be there. And I won't be Tutuni. Guess who will be? See you there.
Have you ever wanted to order on the internet but don't own a credit card, or you're just fed up of the high prices of items locally? Well, the solution is Chemex Online Services. Chemex Online Services order a wide variety of items and get your items in as quick as 5 to 10 days. For placing orders or for more information, call 614-9550. The sky's the limit with Chemex Online Services.